The Esperia Prowler looks to have a new variant on its way in for Alien Week in the second week of June. Let's take a very good look of the underside of the Prowler. This is currently a skin that we have in game called the Oculus skin, and it's green. We're going to be using this skin to compare an image we received in a weekly Friday newsletter in the sneak peek section with the title, "I Have My Eyes on You." And here's the image now. We can immediately see that the skin is orange. Next, we could also verify that the Prowler still features its iconic ground runner technology. These are focused gravity emitters to create a cushion underneath the Prowler, allowing it to navigate along precarious and uneven surfaces such as landscapes or even ship hulls to avoid scans. Now, this image does raise some questions, like, have you liked and subscribed? Second, knowing that the community is going to be generating a lot of content on this image, why did CIG choose to highlight the Prowler's gravity emitters? These gravity emitters that the Prowler features makes the Prowler a very unique ship in such that it is a ship that could traverse both land and space. It's a feature that's not in the game yet, but I think the community does have questions onto when this feature is going to be made available. John Crew has said in a previous statement that they do wish to use these same gravity emitters to make a Tavaran tank. Also to note from this image is that the Prowler's hull doesn't seem to be changing any metrics, meaning we are expecting to see the very same hull for the Prowler, but maybe just a different interior. Next, does this image confirm that there is another variant on the way? I would like to present to you a new image, but this is kind of in the category of spoiler because it is a data mined spoiler. So just a little precaution here before we go on. All right then, so let's move on with the image. So I chose to include this image because it does actually list some new paints that are coming for the Prowler, two of which actually include orange, which kind of points in the direction that we are just getting reskins for the Prowler, that there isn't a variant coming out. But then we get a patch note release, which lists the Esperia Prowler series, which pretty much all point to the fact that there should be, and we should expect, a Esperia Prowler variant to be released. So what kind of variant do we expect to be receiving? Well, if we read this sentence right here, "I got my eyes on you," leads us to believe that the Prowler is getting a heavy scout variant. Now, we are going to talk more about the scout variant, but I wanted to let you guys know that we are also going to talk about the stat changes and the new component room upstairs later on in the video. So what does a new heavy recon variant of the Prowler mean to the community? The most immediate question it raises is if we're going to finally get some bug fixes for the base Prowler. This includes, but not limited to, the turret issue on the Prowler. Your buddy can't target anyone while both pilot and co-pilot are sitting in their respective seats. We have been unable to multi-crew the Prowler for about 4 years now. And this is relevant to the new variant because it is a recon variant, which leads me to believe that we might be getting a turret replacement for a more recon focus attachment for the Prowler. Maybe something akin to the Terrapin, which has a scanning dish on the top of its mount. There could also be no second turret where there's a scanning dish, and maybe they turn the upstairs area with all the screens into a really amazing glorified bathroom where you could look out into the verse, use the Tavaran bird bath / bathroom area, and also be armored. You know, that's another consideration. And again, I wouldn't be opposed to them removing the turret just because of how bad the ship authority bugs are on the Prowler. And here's another bug where if both pilot and co-pilot are in their respective designation in their seats, you have to ask the co-pilot to get up and leave because you can't actually turn on your quantum drive until he gets up. Again, I'm just trying to highlight the community's frustration here of a multi-crew ship that's allowed to have 18 people inside of it that breaks immediately once we fill a multi-crew role aboard the Prowler. Luckily, this has been kind of buffed away because of the fact that the pilot is able to control the turret, but we've been patiently waiting for 4 years to get this turret bug fixed. So again, they have the option of just getting rid of the turret altogether, which will solve a lot of your authority issues. And another thing they could fix by removing it is the drop seats, which currently do not work. And I don't mean that in a gameplay sense, as in like drop ships in general don't have a gameplay feature right now. I mean that as in the drop seats in the Prowler just have not been working for over a year. We joke in the org by saying that the Prowler is the best stealth ship in Star Citizen because it is able to avoid the attention of developers. But luckily now with this new variant coming out and this sneak peek that we're able to see, which also coincide with new purchases, there's going to be a lot of people diving right back into the Prowler and it's going to get a lot of these bugs fixes answered. Reason being is because No one recommends the Prowler to anyone. It is way too expensive. There's a dropship tax. It's been plagued with bugs for a number of years, as you just saw, but we have a brand new sale. We finally will actually have the numbers and the voice to boost up these bugs. So now the real question is, what are we going to be replacing all the walls with if the base Prowler is just aligned with drop seats? How is that going to change for recon variant? Are we going to actually get HAB? Are we going to get beds? Are we going to get cargo? And I also mentioned the Tavaran bathroom as well. We're kind of excited to see how that looks. And we're also excited to see what the base Prowler is changing to be in response to this new variant. So we're going to go ahead and change subjects here. I know I covered a lot of bugs here in this segment, but it is very important to the Prowler community that these bugs get addressed. Okay, so now let's get into the discussion about the stat changes for the Prowler, because there's two of them. And up here on this image, we do have the very first one. And component mass, really just a negligible change. But most importantly, take note that the shield HP did just double. Now, why is that? Well, currently there is a rework going on in the component room of the Prowler, which we'll get to. I have images. But we are getting 2 more size 2 shields for a total of 4 size 2 shields. And we can see that reflected here in the first update. Now, we do get twice as much HP for our shields now, which is cool. And I'm gonna wait to share my opinion on this until I give you guys the rest of the information on the second update for the Prowler. So let's go and see that really quick. And here's the image for the second update for the Prowler. And this is a lot more extensive. We're gonna be focusing on the very first 2 lines of updates. We can see that the nose did get a 35% increase, which is about 3K worth of hit points. And right under it for the body, we can see that we got a really significant decrease in body health. So it decreased from 40,000 down to 20,000. Now the rest of the changes are for other structure points, kind of like the wings and the attachment to the wings, I believe. And they all have a little bit of an increase to them, about 1.5K. So if you add the total health pool provided by the new shields and also add the structural changes to the Prowler made in this new recent patch, you should get a total change of negative 5.22K. And I can already tell you this is making a few of us Prowler owners just a little bit anxious. Reason being is because, well, the 2 main components of the Prowler is going to be the nose and the body. And it makes me really nervous to test out how disabled the Prowler ship is going to be with the significant decrease to its body health pool. Again, I do understand where CIG is coming from with these changes. They have been making a lot of recent changes to the Prowler's maneuverability. I think what they would like to see for the Prowler is to do more hit and run tactics, utilizing that shield a lot more, given that the Esperia Prowler are equipped with that Sukaron shield, which traditionally used to have the highest amount of shield HP pool, but because we are still awaiting our Tavaran shield tech in the Prowler, which again is another subject that we could go into later. Again, just these changes make me really nervous because it does put the body HP pool lower than most traditional land vehicles, which we used to have a big issue with before. But look, I do understand where CIG is trying to come from this, because as you can see from the previous HP pool that I provided here and the new HP pool, we've only lost about 11,000 hit points here for the hull HP. And again, we did increase our new shield capacity to about 11,000. And in this last section of changes for the Prowler, just a very small SEM and max speed increase, just 2% here. And we also got a little bit more of a boost going forward. Maybe the Prowler isn't turning exactly into an interceptor type of build here, but with this little bit of increase in SEM speed and the boost speed, I feel like there is a little bit of cooperation going in with this recon ship if we do get. So maybe the recon ship is able to scout, and then the Prowler and Talons are able to kind of catch up with their prey a little bit quicker. And I have included the previous updates for the Prowler in case some of you guys haven't been watching my previous videos. As you guys know, I pretty much cover the Prowler here in this channel like it's the only ship that I cover here. You could look, please look, and also subscribe. We're going to be moving away from the stats now, and we're going to be going over the new interior changes for the Prowler because those parts are really exciting. All right, cool. So now we actually get to the new component room in the Prowler that's featured upstairs. As we can see that we are looking behind the pilot's chair, which which a lot of people have been kind of contemplating if that should be changed to the copilot's chair now with this new component room. That way the copilot can leave the chair and actually still be in the component room. That way he's able to fix things and leave the pilot to pilot stuff and not the other way around. Anyways, I'm excited to see if this is room that needed to be added to the Prowler, like the exterior on the top part of the Prowler needed to be a little bit changed to have the space for this component room. We could also see very clearly in one of the images that the Esperia Prowler does have an engineering MFD for the Prowler, so it looks as though that you'll be able to fix and maintain things from that whenever that gameplay comes in, which should be around the corner. Another thing which I don't believe might make it in is that the Prowler was said to have a phalanx shield technology, which allowed someone to control which direction the shield was going to be pointing at, which would block 100% of the ballistic damage coming through shields. Again, there is a chance that that MFD in the back that's featured there could provide that gameplay, but I wouldn't be so hopeful about it. We do have one issue that we can foresee, and it's that the Prowler has one power plant for 4 shields. I don't think it's going to be enough power to provide juice to all the components that's featured on the Prowler. Again, we're probably just gonna have to wait for the release of the Prowler to check on that. And also check out this image. I received a bill to repair the Prowler for 760,000 AUEC. That's ridiculous. And I didn't see the number and I actually paid it and all I had was like a mil. So that part was kind of crazy. I don't know what I did to the Prowler that would make it cost that much, because all we were doing is just taking B-roll video that you saw in the beginning of this video. We weren't even doing combat. Anyways, what do you think they're gonna call the ship? Do you think it's called the Jackal? Do you think this new recon variant is gonna have a lot of gun racks like the original Prowler has? I personally am looking forward to a scout variant because 1, it's stealth, 2, it's dropship, 3, it should be armored a little bit, and the fact that I am an org leader for an alien org, I can stay hidden away, give orders, and also scan and just have to worry about battlefield logistics. I think this might be a really amazing command and control ship if utilized well. Do you think they're going to remove the turret? Because if you know that in lore, the top turret actually wasn't in the very first versions of the Prowler. They had to update the Prowler with a new turret, which I'm also figuring that's how they lost the second Tavaran War, because the turret is still broken. But anyways, I hope you guys have a really good night. I hope your guys' cats, your dogs, your hamsters, and especially your tortoises are doing really well. And I hope to see you in the comments. Also want to give a special thanks to everyone here on this screen because they are amazing and they helped fuel the discussion needed to provide this video for you guys, and overall just being active in my Discord. And of course we have to give it up for SP Viewer here because they are propping up the community so much and I am so grateful for them. Anyways, that's it for me for this video. I would like to have a follow-up soon because there are going to be a lot of changes coming quickly now that Alien Week is approaching, so keep an eye out for that and please follow me. I really would appreciate that. Okay, that's it. All right, good night.